Well, guys, it 52 episodes of Behind the Details with Chelsea. If you'd had asked me this time last year, Chelsea, do you think you're going to be able to come up with 52 episodes week after week of educational and entertaining content? I would have laughed in your face and said, what am I doing? I have no idea how we're going to do this. But somehow I think along the way we've been able to come up with some pretty great content. I know I personally have enjoyed every interview, every moment, getting to know all of the people behind the brands and the products that we all use and love. We've gotten to know some of my favorite friends and even get to meet new people that have become friends. And we've also been able to share with you guys an up-close look at how some of these products are used. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the show, and I don't know what the future holds for Behind the Details with Chelsea, but I do know we're going to continue to make great content for you guys over at Attention to Details with Chelsea, so hopefully you'll continue to follow me there. But tonight, I think honestly, we're going out with a bang. We're going to have Bob from Chem-X come on. Now, I actually met Bob at SEMA. In fact, Eddie introduced me to him. They were kind of standing in a circle, and he's like, do you know who this guy is? I read his name tag, and I was like, sure, it's Bob from Chem-X. We did a quick video together because I've used Stars and Stripes and absolutely love that soap, but I've not worked with many of his products. And as I got to talk with him, I realized that one, super honest, transparent, down-to-earth guy, really enjoys personality, but two, the thing that he's designed his products for, which is to really give you back time, is what I'm most passionate about. So not only am I more excited now to try out more Chem-X products, but I'm really excited to get to know Bob and the vision behind his products. So if you're like me, you want to speed up the detailing process, maybe have the gift of time given back to you, and still get great results for your customers, hopefully you're going to enjoy the show. Bob's a little bit of a loose cannon, so you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. So tonight, I think we're going out with the true bang. And for the last time, let's go ahead and get started with the show. All right, guys, we are here. We have finally made it to the final episode of Behind the Details with Chelsea. And I am so excited for tonight's episode because I have been binge watching your YouTube channel, Bob. You make amazing content. I
Oh, thank you.
absolutely love your stuff. I mean, your products are great. For those of you who haven't checked out Chem-X's YouTube channel, just do yourself a favor, go on over, subscribe, because he makes top-notch content. You're funny, you're witty, you have really great educational stuff. So I'm really honored to have you on my show, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you thinking of me here. This is super cool to be on with you. And I appreciate your channel quite a bit as well. I've watched your stuff and it's fantastic. I love how you dive into the products. You have a real passion for it. So
I'm a nerd. We're all a little nerdy when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. I don't know. It's like a fun hobby, right? Like just diving into what's out there and finding better ways to do it. Maybe it's more of an obsession. I don't know, but
I think it's
just
totally
kind
more
of
of an obsession. It literally, it normally starts for most people with buying a new car. You don't really have a crappy car that you get into detailing, but every customer of mine that buys a new car, they're like, I want to take care of it right. And I'm like, get ready. Your world is about to explode.
There's so many things, and it is fun to see what the latest things are and what comes around the corner. I'm always curious to see. It was fun to go to SEMA. That was where we first met. It was really cool to cross paths with you there, and I appreciated you interviewing me there.
I felt like such a buffoon though, because literally, I mean, I said it in the intro. Eddie was like, "Do you know who this guy is?" And I was like, "Sure, Bob from Chem-X." I had no idea. I mean, I knew you owned Chem-X. I didn't know you had a channel. And then I went back and watched some of your stuff, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that guy!" I was talking to that guy. I felt that's the hard part for me when you detail and also make content. And I don't know, you maybe get to enjoy other people's content. I don't get to follow other channels as much as I want. So it was it's definitely an enlightenment to go on. But for those that maybe are not familiar with Chem-X, with who you are, would you mind giving me a brief summary of how you made your start into the crazy detailing industry, or even the industry that you're in? Because I feel like you detailed trucks for the most part, but also cars. But it's a little bit of a different industry that crosses over into detailing very well.
Yeah, well, I grew up in this industry. My father was a distributor for a company that built power washers and made two-step soaps, and I grew up around it. I have a picture on my phone somewhere of me as like a newborn with a power washer gun in my hand. Like I was like, but
was it connected to a pressure washer, or was it just the gun?
No, it was connected to it. It was
okay.
Yeah.
Balls to the wall. Okay, cool.
I mean, my parents were both there. Yeah, they were kind of like, I was literally a newborn, this in the middle there. But it was so I went all the way back, and then when I was like a really young kid, that company that my father distributed for went out of business, and so the chemist who was with that company went out on his own. My father hired him as a subcontractor to keep blending because we still had all of our customers. My father did really well, but that big company was making the power washers. So then there was nobody making the power washers as much. A couple of companies were available, but I got into building power washers because there was a need for them as I got into my teens, and I started doing the route because we had before the internet. I don't know. I'm like 41, so this is going back.
I'm the same age, so
back
in the old days, as my daughter likes to put it.
So we used to have, my father would have box trucks driving barrels of soap around New England, and he had hundreds of customers, and they were all generally trucking companies, construction, municipalities, transportation, and they would have maybe, some of our clients had fleets of 400 trucks, and their struggle was to get them all clean and keep them clean. And they couldn't spend the time hand washing them because it's just absurd to, you spend all day hand washing something that big, right? And then it just gets dirty immediately. It's always nasty weather up here, and you have to get the salt off of there so you don't, your vehicle doesn't fall apart, all the same factors. Mm-hmm. So we would come in and teach them how to use the right soaps and the right technique and a good, reasonably high GPM power washer, like 4 GPM. It was not crazy high, but, just a couple little tricks that would help people wash without physically touching it, which would allow a customer to wash 5 times as many trucks in the same amount of time or more. You can wash a truck in, 15 minutes instead of hours, so it was just a good way to streamline time. So that's always been our thing. But after that company had been gone for a while, their marketing also was gone. So it became really difficult to get new customers. And so my father's company declined in size quite a bit. From, I think he had 10 people when I was younger, and finally had one guy left when I was around 16. And then that guy, we had to let him go, and it was down to me. I got my license, and I got into a pickup truck with a lift gate and just started working, just started delivering the route. And so I did that for a long, long time. I did it for free, room and board, basically. I mean, I still work for room and board. I feel like it's not really any different, but there was no money. I mean, we did more this past Black Friday than the company did in a year at that stage.
Wow.
So
I was one of those purchasers.
Oh, no, wow. Thank you. So we were pretty squished down at that point. And so I saw the need for the marketing pretty early, the need for getting momentum and building a wave of attention for something. But there wasn't a good way to do it at that time. At least I wasn't aware of it yet. I mean, there probably was a good way to do it, but I wasn't aware of how to do it yet. I would cold call trying to get new companies. You go to a place and you try and win them over. You talk to the purchasing guy for, you pop in 5 times and you finally win his trust, and he gets a drum. And then the wash bay guy doesn't like the stuff, and then it was all for nothing, or maybe you get to keep them. But it was really difficult to get new accounts. And so I held on to the ones I had with a death grip, just I can't lose them. I can't lose, just anything I can do to keep the customers we had, not lose anybody. And so I managed to do pretty well with that. I did it for a long time. I spent 20 years on the road working that way. But around 2016, I rebranded the company. I started Chem-X LLC, the branding that it has now. Started working on the trademark thing, and I was plateaued at a certain number. I was working out of a truck, and I'd kind of maximized how efficient I could be doing that. And it was either going to hire another guy or more people and more trucks and keep doing it this way, where we spend all day looking through a windshield just to like bring soaps to a place when there's companies that ship stuff, you know? And so like, it seemed like there would be a better way to scale. Like I needed to figure out a way to remove the bandwidth constrictions that were me, you know? And so I just started trying to figure out, how do I build a website? You know, first things around 2016 is, how do I build a website? And I built the first Chem-X.com myself. Like, you know, didn't spend a ton of time on it. You know, took some product shots, and like I had to start figuring out how to bottle down our soaps, and that was kind of messy at first. You know, packaging, labeling, where that was all awful looking. Like I was printing my own labels on a laser jet printer on some like double-sided like sticky paper that I could like peel. It was like it took like 5 minutes to try and get the backing off one, you know, just because it was like impossible to get your fingernail in between them. And it was, you know, I think of my original labels, I designed them in Microsoft Word, you know, using text boxes and stuff. It was bad. The more I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then I remember
products must have been pretty good then, if people could like see past the branding.
They couldn't. So like I had my customers that knew what I could do in the trucking world, and I would get new customers through references. So like maybe the purchasing guy that likes my stuff moves to a new company, and when he goes there, he calls me up because they're having trouble getting ahead of their trucks and keeping them up. So I'll get a lot of work that way. So I had a reputation in that sense. But when it came to getting new people, but you know, the labeling and the concept of it all it needed a lot of work. So like I had a friend who was working at a local Bobcat dealership, and he was going to a truck show like the next weekend. And he's like, hey, you should get your soaps in there. You know, I bet you could do something with that. And so I was like, you know what? All right. And I got like a little easy up, and like my now wife and I, she helped me bottle like all night long, and just like we put all this stuff into like these. I remember we had these boxes. They're like 2.5 gallon boxes with like a bag in them, like a box of wine or something. You know, they were designed for chemicals, right? And we had our home printed labels on them, and like it just didn't look very appealing. And I remember we brought a bunch of those. We set up at the show. And this is where the show trucks kind of come in. Because I always wanted to deal with those kind of trucks. We didn't deal with that primarily when I was a kid. It was more like standard fleets, like Ryder and places like that, you know. So like I wanted to deal with the really nice trucks and figure out what kind of soaps would appeal to them. So this was a start in that. And so I remember going to that show, and I could not give our stuff away. Like I couldn't even give it away for free. Like nobody would take. Everybody was like looking at it really skeptical, you know, because nobody knew who I was really. It's all brand new eyes. Nobody knows what's going on. And I remember at the end of the show, I gave the host of the show one of our, you know, cardboard boxes full of the M-Shine formula, which is now Mob Shine. I just rebranded it. Same formula. It's the same. I haven't changed anything about that one. And I was used to aluminum brighteners that etch and like make dramatic differences, you know, and I thought I had something with this one. And I wasn't 100% sure still, but I gave it to the host of the show, and she used it on a large mirror polished aluminum trailer that was pretty let go. It was pretty bad. I remember she called me up to ask how to use it, and I was like, you know what, I'll pop in over there. She was local, and I just washed it with her just to see what would happen. And I remember apologizing to her, like, hey, you know, this doesn't look like it's doing anything. I'm so sorry to be wasting your time here. This is not. But then when it dried, it was like a mirror again. Like it fixed all of it removed all of the oxidation. But while it was still wet, it still looked foggy. You couldn't see the shine until it dried. So once it dried, we turned around and she was like, look what happened. You know, and it was crazy. But that was the moment where she had a Facebook following, and she would post her truck all cleaned up after every time she
social media existed back then. Okay.
And so social media now exists, right? And I had a Facebook account, but it was for like, oh, I'm over here at this concert. You know, I didn't ever think about using it as a way to get the word out about what we do. And so, anyways, so I discovered that, and then she posted that on her Facebook page, and it went pretty good. People were like, oh, what the heck is this? You know? And then that was when it clicked in my head. I was like, oh, I can use my Facebook page to talk about what I do and get in front of a lot more people. And so all of a sudden I had a way, because when I built my website, I remember sitting there staring at it, looking at Chem-X.com and like waiting for anything to happen. I'm like, is there going to be an order? You know, it never happened. There's just nothing happened when I built it. And so I knew I needed to get the word out and bring attention to it somehow. So I started leveraging Facebook first, and like it just grew over time. And then I got into Instagram, and then I got the YouTube account going, and it was very small. I mean, I posted for years without like much traction. But then I started, like, every now and then I get a video that go pretty good. And then I started noticing, like, if I make a really good video, maybe it'll go somewhere. And so I just kind of started trying to build on that. I got in early on TikTok, so that was nice. So I got the same handle there, and like started, got some pretty good momentum there. And then I was also early on the YouTube shorts when they started doing vertical content. And so we got a lot of views. Like we had like some videos that got, 20, 30, 40 million views. Like that just like really went. And so that's how we got like the channel numbers up really good, really quickly. And so I was very fortunate with that. And it was right around, I think it was right before that I had started, like I had taken a leap and gotten out of my old shop because we were kind of outgrowing it. And I got this place. And the landlord was cool with me cutting out the floor and putting in drains and all the, oil water separator and all the stuff that we use to handle everything here. So he was cool with that. And I threw everything I had at this place. I mean, everything I had. And it was all of the money I had. It was all of the time I could spend. I put 300 gallons of paint on this unit myself, between like all these walls and the ceiling and like the whole shop. I painted the whole place, made it all look nice. And I changed all the lighting around and and then I outfitted this room the way I would have done for my customers. I always built power washers and hose systems and stuff. And so I don't know, it's kind of a long story, but it's kind of in a nutshell. Like, I wouldn't say a nutshell, it's a long story. It's not in a nutshell, but like that's kind of how I got to where I am here today. And that's some of the logic of like why I do all the marketing myself. Like I've seen the effects of like losing the marketing, and I've been on the downstream end of that, where like there's no more momentum and there's no more interest in a brand because like the marketing is just gone. You know what I mean? So I just do it myself because I know that I can just keep on going, and I enjoy it too. I love it.
People resonate with your personality and they feel connected to the brand because of you. And
yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's
definitely
a big deal.
Something to that. I know whenever I see companies hire new people to take over marketing, it just feels like some of the magic gets lost. So I can totally get why you would want to continue to do that, but you're so good at it. I mean, you really.
Thank you.
I've watched a lot of your videos. Like, you like pushing people's buttons.
Oh yeah, well that's
like, why?
Something I don't know. I just I think it's because when I first started posting, I remember like the detailing community, like the trucking community also a little bit, but the detailing community primarily was like very I don't know, just I don't want to say judgmental, but they're very vocal about like what I was and wasn't doing right.
That first word would probably be accurate.
I don't know.
Trying to be nice.
Yeah, I like everybody in the detailing community, but like I remember
not
early on.
All are. Everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
Some can be hypercritical with their opinion, though.
Well, I got a lot of that early on, and I realized that it was good for the video, because if I could get people talking, it still engaged the video and made it go better. And so I just kind of embraced the idea of like stirring the pot a little bit, and like, this just kind of, I don't know. I just, I think that there's a gap in the vehicle cleaning world, of the video world, of like chaos and fun, and like there's destruction and just like doing things wrong.
That explains your Black Friday commercial that you guys came out with.
Oh, which one? Was that the one where I used the
With, like,
eagle dropping the turkey and
body
all of that?
parts were, like, getting smashed in the
Oh,
conveyor
oh
belt,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
hilarious, but I was just like,
Yeah.
"What is happening in this
I was
ad?"
I
But it
was
literally is
having
what made me click and buy a whole gallon of Stars and Stripes, so
that was a fun one. I was having like kind of a stressful day and I went out to the bottling area. I was like, guys, I just need everybody to die. Like, let's just have let's just have fun with it,
it
and like
worked for me. I'm
I
very
was
impressionable,
also
apparently.
I was also really sick of hearing or like not hearing but seeing all the different brands that do their bottling where everything's so perfect. Like the bottles come up perfectly, they stop perfectly, the nozzles go in perfectly, the liquid level's perfect, they move forward, there's a cap comes on, and all the labels are perfect, and like everything's working. And the reality is that it is so sideways. Like bottling, like is like playing mousetrap for a living. Like like you're just trying to set everything that can go wrong goes wrong every day on every piece of equipment. There's leaks, there's problems with the sealer, there's malfunctions, the labels are going on crooked, or they're going on too soon or too late, or the heat shrink process is failing. There's like all this stuff that goes wrong. And I was like, why don't we just like really
Lean
show
into that.
this is what it's really like. There's like death and like destruction and like it
Oh my
just feels
god.
horrible. It is
Now you're
so
gonna have to put
crazy.
no detailer was killed in the bottling of this, so
Yeah, no, but we had a lot of fun with just because like we were like, let's make this like a Final Destination movie, like real, like make it real bad. So we had a lot of fun,
So
and
what was
I
your
think the
first
team
product
appreciates those.
what was your first product that you came out with? Was it the Mob Shine?
Well, that was the first one that was the first one that took off. That was originally called M Shine.
Okay.
I originally actually named it Mirror Shine, going all the way back. That was the original name, was Mirror Shine.
Okay.
And
Which
I hated
product, like, went really big for you?
that was the first one. That was the one that got
Okay.
posted on that video. I just detailed the truck of that same woman who hosted that truck show last week. That video will be coming up in like 2 weeks.
Wow. I mean,
She's
I've
like a
seen
fifth
videos
generation
of
trucker.
Mob Shine, and I was like, "I need to buy this because it looks like I could touchless clean tires and wheels." Now, are there
Well, just
certain,
the
like
wheels. Yeah. So
well, I've
I
seen
wouldn't say you
browning
can
coming off.
touchless. No, no, no. You're thinking of the heavy duty. That's the one. I think I have some here. This one here. This is the one that takes the brown and puts it
Okay.
right off the tire. This is the one you want for that. You can use it
I
10 to
will be
1 and still
buying
get
that.
that browning. This stuff is really good. And you can touchless clean the rubber. I've been doing more and more of that, and it looks great. The rubber's nice and dark after. M Shine or Mob Shine now is for like you can remove a little bit of rust, you can remove some brake dust with it, but primarily it's for removing oxidation off polished aluminum without etching it. It's a non-etching acid. So
Okay.
it's designed to be able to clean polished aluminum without taking the surface of it off and resetting all the work that you put into polishing it. And
So,
so
designed specifically for aluminum, not for clear coat?
no, it's not designed for clear coat. It's fine if you get some overspray on there and you rinse it down, but like it's really just for polished aluminum.
What would you
Like it's
recommend for wheels then? Would that be your
for
Witches
wheel.
Brew?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, that's a very standard sort of iron remover, the horrible smelling iron remover. It's just that we made it as strong as we possibly could, so it can cut up to 3 to 1 and still show the purple reaction. So you can get a little bit theoretically. Like what I wanted was to get more bang for the buck
Yeah.
to the customer. You know what I mean? So like, so that one works pretty good. I mean, it's got a lot of lubrication. So you could use that with a clay mitt or a clay bar if you wanted to use it on the paint too. It would be great
Okay.
for that.
I gotta
Yeah.
try that out. I like a dilutable iron remover, and I guess I
Yeah.
can deal with the smell if it
It's
works
just the
really
way,
well.
yeah, we
I've
tried to make
learned
a non-odor, but it didn't really hit like the same.
I've
So
learned with at least with the basic understanding I know of chemistry, when we try to remove that smell, we're gonna have less of the reaction. And some people, like, we can get by without having a severe reaction, maybe on a newer vehicle, but when you've got a nasty, like, white truck that's practically orange, you need a stinky product, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I just for rust, that's a really nice thing for removing rust too. I like to use that quite a bit. We used that on this last video that we shot this past weekend, and it was really helpful to have Witches Brew for that. It really made a big difference on the rust. So I think that's one of my favorite aspects of it. What it does on brake dust and all that is fine, but I really find it the most helpful on rust and getting rid of that.
So when you came into wanting to just like go all in with Chem-X and really develop it, like what was the lane within the detailing industry that you saw was missing that you wanted to fill?
Well, I'd spent my whole life trying to teach trucking companies how to save their time. And in the car world, it's not as hypercritical, but you can still get a car washed in like 5 minutes, and that's really nice. And then at the same time, all of the concerns about how many buckets to use to prevent scratching, like you can completely eliminate the idea of scratching entirely. That's a big perk. And I don't really lean into that ever, but I think that's a big angle that, it really has a lot of appeal. That's why I actually made a shirt, just released a shirt with the I prefer the no bucket method slogan on the back. Cause it's like, it's just kind of a big shortcut. It doesn't get you as far as a hand wash does though. There's still a need for that. But if you can eliminate every other one of those, or maybe limp by for a month without having to get hands on, then that's pretty nice. Or if you use like a drying aid and or maybe use like a, quick drying with a drying towel, that'll take off whatever was left. If there's
Or
any film
rinseless
left,
wash as a drying aid?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of people ask that question. When's a rinseless wash coming?
Oh, it's Tanner. He's been asking me that forever. Yeah.
Is that even something that you would consider? I mean, is there a place for that in the trucking industry?
I think so. I think that we would benefit from having a rinseless for sure. Now, Tanner's been looking for that for a long time. He's been talking about that for like a year. So I think that it's a good idea. It's just a matter of, I think it's just a matter of talent here. I don't think my chemist would need, it would be in one of those situations where he needs to make 50 different versions before we probably land on something that's good. And then I just don't know if I have the time to dive into it just yet. I think it would be down the road once everything else is ironed out. And I think that for me, a lot of the delay with the idea of getting into a rinseless is that we've been fortunate enough to grow a lot over the last few years. And then this past year, this year, we almost doubled over last year, which has brought a lot of other really substantial problems, to try and keep everything from blowing apart, we're trying to keep everything working smoothly. And so it takes me away from the new product development whenever those stages happen. But I've been very fortunate to train a really, really good leadership team over the last year. And I think that moving forward, we're in pretty good hands here for me to free up a little bit and start working on things a little bit more.
If you were to design a rinseless wash, what would you want out of a rinseless wash?
I would need feedback from people like you, or Tanner would be another good example of someone who could help me get some good feedback.
Do you like foamy rinseless washes, or do you like ones that don't foam?
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Is I don't really have a lot of experience with rinseless washes myself, and so I don't have an idea of what's good. You know what I mean? And that's where I would need feedback from other people to help me shape something that's worthwhile. I think that would be the best way that I could come up with something good. And it would just take a little bit of time to get to the stage where we thought we had something, and then refine it from there. Because I really do want to offer the best stuff we can. There's so many things on the market, and there's such a head start on us from other companies who have experience making these things. I wouldn't want to come into it and have something that's not, really good, really valuable solution. And, at the same time, we're pretty small. So our pricing can't be as good as some of the options that you can get out there. And so I want it to be justifiable where we have to be for our price points. I think that's a big part of it. Oh, Tanner has some ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. He says call him.
Yeah. No, we'll have to get in touch, Tanner. It's been too long anyway.
Someone even
But
said
yeah,
do a sponge in the shape of an X.
that'd be cool. Yeah, that's actually kind of a fun idea. We do want to get into, other things if we can, whatever we can come up with that we can put our name on. Like our foam cannons are pretty good. But they could be a lot better. Like these are the version 2 of we call them chrome cannons. They're actually nickel plated, but like, I don't know. I want to like put a smaller thread on the inside. I want a quick quarter turn release. I'd love to have an unscrewable cone that I can get at the foam agitator. There's a few things I'd like to see different here. Maybe an update to the graphics on there.
Sounds
but like
expensive
more
to
things,
do all of that.
No, it's not too bad. I was talking with the manufacturer who makes these for us. She traveled in from China actually and like visited with us for a day here. And we went over a bunch of things. But she's not the engineer. So like, she's like bringing that back to their factory and then like saying, okay, here's this and this and this. I could probably Zoom call with them, but I'd almost love to just travel to their place in China and just see what's going on over there and just sit down with them. And like, I have all these ideas for what could make a foam cannon better. And like, it's hard to get it all across. There's a little bit of a language barrier issue too when you're dealing with the factories over there. So it's a little bit tricky, but I would love to offer something that really keeps up with some of the nicer options out there. These ones are pretty good. I mean, we saw them for like $34.
That's actually very affordable.
It's not bad. Yeah. But I feel like they're not a bad foam cannon, but like, I don't like that they're too many threads on here. Like they have to turn like too many times. Then I have a customer who like over tightens it and strips it. And then like, he'll need a bottle, but I don't have just the bottles. You know what I mean? There's like all these little issues. I don't know, but I want to do more things like that. If I can think of anything that we can add, I'm looking for any ideas there. We do a lot of hardware. We make our own foaming lenses, all the ones we use in the videos with the flashlights on them and all that. We make all those here. We build them out of all the MTM, Hydro, and Suttner, and different parts that are Mosmatic and places like that have all these individual components. And then we just kind of take all the best parts and put them together. But I want to add more hardware solutions, like maybe detail brushes and stuff like that. I'd love to get into the packaging and doing a good job with that. So I have a lot of work to do, if you can't tell. I've got a lot of things on my mind that I want to like get moving on. And I think we're getting close to a point where throughout this winter, we'll be making some progress on some of those fronts. So to get back to your question on Rinseless, I mean, I guess I just have a lot of things that I'm trying to iron out, that I want to do and make sure the website's good, make sure the team's good and all the software integrations are working, and making sure that the sales tax is being remitted properly, and like there's like all these layers to this thing. And so I guess that's a long answer to why the Rinseless hasn't really made any progress. I think it's just because I don't know what I want in it, and so it's a little bit of a delay because of that.
Yeah. So when you're designing products, like what is the philosophy that you have in mind ultimately with any products that you want to bring to market?
I just want to make people's lives a little easier. If anything, I think that's our edge in general. We've come from that with the Stars and Stripes soaps have had that effect. The heavy duty wheel cleaner has that effect. The Mob Shine has that effect, where everything just becomes a little easier for the customer. It's like a solution that saves them time and energy and labor. And so we try and just think about that first. What is going to bring value, and then we see what we can do from there. I guess that's how I would sum that up.
Yeah. When it comes to developing products, like, do you solely test them on trucks? Do you test them on cars and trucks? And is detailing the truck, like, does it take do the products have to hit harder in the trucking industry versus cars?
No, the kind of trucks that I deal with, the soaps can't hit as hard as what you can use on a car. Yeah, because the polished aluminum is really easy to stain.
Okay.
And it costs thousands and thousands of dollars of labor to do the polishing. So you can always fix it with more polishing, but it takes a guy with a grinding wheel just all day, depending on how much surface area. So like the worst nightmare is for us to sell something that is too strong that maybe works really good on a car, but it's too much for one of those kind of trucks. So yeah, it's actually the reverse. I start by testing on cars because those are more readily available here. I'll test on my own stuff. You know, I have our own cars, my wife and I want to find out the hard way myself first if I'm happy or not, and then I can start maybe playing with some people from the lab here, like, hey, you want to send over, see what you think about this stuff, and then we'll start playing with the big rigs a little bit. If we think we have something, that's when we find out if there's any issues on like the aluminum or but generally once it passes the aluminum test, we really don't see any problems anywhere else. If we can get away with washing mirror polished aluminum, then usually the car scene is much less problematic.
Okay. Tanner, asking questions. How's your wife enjoying the Tesla?
Yeah. Oh, we love it. I mean, I've kind of been stealing it from her quite a bit as much as I can. That thing's crazy. I mean, I've never had so much fun, and it's kind of like a polarizing car. Like we get flipped off every now and then just because it's a Tesla, and we're like, well, I mean, I just really love the features of it. I have had so much fun in that thing.
In a Tesla with driving truck.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's but it's a pretty cool vehicle. We've been pretty happy with it, and we actually washed. We had to get some. We had them come over. They actually show up at your place when they do service. So like you go in the app, and we needed the tires rotated and a couple of quick tune-ups. They charged us like $60 and showed up here to do that work. And while he was here, he was in a Model S and it hadn't been washed in 2 years. I'm like, so that was the video I just posted, I think yesterday, washing down the service Tesla. So
that's awesome.
It's kind of fun. I really do like that car though. It's pretty cool. Tanner mentioned I just want thick foam too. That's a very true statement. We struggle with foam thickness here. That's one of our main things that we can't seem to surmount is the foam quality. We're really lean on foam quality. Drives me crazy. So that's why that is a good answer though. That's one of the main things I'm looking for in a product is if I can just get the foam up. Like that's one of my main priorities because it just feels like the thicker the foam, the better the experience. You know what I mean? It just makes you feel like you're getting more bang for your buck. You're getting more cling time.
Yep.
That's a big one. And that's one of my curses. We're just cursed with not great foam. I just don't know what it is. We can't seem to get past it. I'll find a way.
Do you have hard water where you're at?
No, it's about 50 parts per million. I mean, it's not horrible, but.
Because I know when we talked at SEMA, for those that maybe missed that short that I did with you, I think it might have been actually a full, it was integrated in a video that I did for SEMA. Anyways, I'd asked you about Stars and Stripes, and maybe we'll recap that for those that missed that. So I love Stars and Stripes, one of my favorite touchless soaps that I have ever used. And it's probably the closest I have ever found to actually being touchless.
Fantastic.
So
that's great to hear.
You shared with me some tips. And then we also discussed the powder. So first I want to get into the tips. When it comes to using Stars and Stripes, I had asked you kind of the devil's advocate question of, well, if you have to, spray one and then spray the other, can you just combine them and spray them? And you explained it to me. Can you give us the scientific reason?
Oh, well, here's the concept as far as all of the two-step like soaps in the industry, whether it's mine or anybody else's. The idea is that you put on either a low or a high pH first. The car wash industry usually goes with the high pH side first. The trucking world usually goes with the low pH side first. Either way, if you put one on and you either drop or lower the pH and then you put an opposite over it and they mix, they shock to neutral pH. So that's a big perk. It's a perk on the runoff. It's a perk for the vehicle.
It's an exothermic reaction for those of you that like to be a little bit of a geek.
Yeah, you're the one who knows the terminology here the best. So like, I think the perk that it, basically the perk of it is that when you do those opposite pHs and they meet on the surface of the vehicle, that helps shock free any static bond from, whatever. That's basically what's holding on the road film to the surface. You have a large flat surface with wind moving across it, and you build up static charge, and that holds on the road foam. As I understand it, that's pretty much what the industry views that as. And by shocking the pH around, you can loosen that up. And so at that point, you can power wash and get a lot more of the road film off. So, and the stronger your soaps are, the better your, cleaning will be. So that's a big factor, and so if somebody isn't having the best results, there's only a couple of things to do. Obviously water quality is a big one. The harder your water, the less the soap will be able to do. And so you'd have to mix stronger to counter that. Yep. So like maybe you'd have to mix it 3-to-1 instead of 4-to-1 or,
okay.
But the other thing you can do is when you're rinsing, you can be sure to come in and keep close contact.
Okay. And you like to go from the bottom up?
Yeah, there's 2 reasons for that. So it actually does help because my soaps are on the milder side. In the 2-step world, I have very mild soaps. They don't hit as hard as a lot of the 2-step truck wash soaps. And that's because we cater to the mirror polished aluminum, and we don't want to damage anything. If you go too hot, that's when you start having problems. You get great results, but you probably stain your aluminums, and you don't want to impact like clear coat negatively or glass. When I was growing up, the 2-step soaps we had would etch windshields. So wherever the windshield wiper tracks would run over time as the silica wore down, the pre-soak that we used to use was strong enough to etch that glass and make it foggy.
Wow.
And so it cleaned to 100%. And it took the windshield with it and the polished aluminum with it and the clear coat with it, but it cleaned it to 100%. And those soaps—
0 buckets, but 0 paint too.
So we would rinse that top down because it's faster.
Yeah.
And the soap did all of the work.
Yeah.
With these, you have to hit harder, you have to hit longer. And if you rinse bottom up, you have more time to make sure that you contact everything. And if you think about it, if these soaps, the way Stars and Stripes work, they're loosening the road film, but the power washer is removing it. And so you have to rinse thoroughly. And if you rinse top down, it'll rinse faster, but you'll miss a lot of spots on the way down with the pressure. You won't even be able to tell. And when it dries, you'll see it. You'll see the road film everywhere that the power washer didn't hit. Yeah. And so I teach people to rinse from the bottom up because it's easier to track where you were as you work up into the foam. It's kind of like how when you're mitt washing and you foamed on like a neutral pH soap, let's say, you can see where your mitt's been by what the foam looks like. And so, once you've touched everything, then you rinse it top down because it's faster because the cleaning's done. But with these soaps, if you rinse the top down, you just miss a lot of spots. The other reason I do it is to upset people. Like you mentioned before, I like to stir the pot. It's really good for engagement because a lot of people know it's faster to rinse top down. They don't understand why we're doing it. And then they chime in and argue about it. Then somebody else argues back and you get a lot more engagement. It's really not a bad way to get a little bit of conversation going. It's okay to have conversation in there. I like to encourage that. And if I can give anybody a reason to do it, so that's one of there's a logical, real reason why I do it. And then there's the fun reason that helps me stir things up a little bit, so that's why I do it that way.
Well, Tanner left because he had to go handle a customer, but he did ask a question. He said, let's talk about the powders. In fact, I don't think he's talking. He's yelling, let's talk about the powders. Bob has a massive sale, but the powders are out of stock. We aren't believing it. I just had to say it the way Tanner did. Did you discontinue them?
No, not yet. But we've had so much. Not yet. No, because we're investigating building in a softener because we were talking about this at
that's
SEMA.
The other thing we talked about. Because I struggle with getting the same results with the powders as I do with the soaps. You had said that my hard water here, which it's like almost over 300 parts per million, is probably the culprit.
Yeah, so if you think about,
I don't get much foam with the powders though. It's like thin and it just runs right off. And I'm like,
yeah, here when I blend them, the foam is much better than the liquid version.
Yeah.
So I think that is because of the water hardness inhibiting the ability of the ingredients to all dissolve fully. That must be what's going on in your case, because every negative review I've seen about it is usually from people who have used the liquids, who know who know how they like that. And then, they tried the powders, and I'm wondering, everyone I've spoken to, when I ask them, what is your water like? Generally I start hearing about these problems around the 100 to 150 parts per million mark. And so it seems like there's there's people who love it too. And I'm pretty sure that they're all below that mark. So I think that's what's going on there. So what I want to do is fix that before we get too much further. If we can straighten that out with just maybe a little softener added in or something to help it fully go in. Because when these chemicals are made in the raw form, the individual ingredients are made. They're made in a liquid state, and then they're evaporated to turn into powders. And evaporating them refines them. And so it wasn't really part of the goal with this format. My goal was to just prevent leaks and shrink the weight and not have any freezing problems. Or, you know what I mean? There's a lot of other perks.
Yeah.
But the side effect of the evaporation process makes them actually perform a little better as long as they fully dissolve, and they foam a lot better as long as they fully dissolve. But that water hardness problem affects a lot of people. Most people don't have good water. It's less common than not. You know what I mean? Most people have hard water. So I don't want
Enthusiast
to
is saying, can you mix it with distilled water in the foam
So-
cannon to reduce that? But I mean, as
Yeah,
it's
that
being
was a good
sprayed
idea.
out from the hose, though, wouldn't it still?
Well, no, it's more about getting the soap, the powder, to dissolve fully. And someone else on my live stream a couple of days ago mentioned this. Maybe it was you, Enthusiast, if you were there on my live stream. I don't know. But distilled water was mentioned to me the other day, and I was like, well, heck, why didn't I think about that? I could probably have been telling
I'll have
people.
to try that, and I'll let you know.
If you could let me know, I would really benefit to find out, because if we can do that, then that would be a better solution than nothing. I still would prefer for it to just work.
Text that you put on the instructions. If you have hard water, mix with distilled water instead of having to go through reformulating it.
The other drawback is the process of making them. I mean, we 3D print the little caddies that clip them together, the jars together, and then we 3D print the little World War II shovel that clips in the middle for the scoop, and then our inner concealer, which melts the foil onto the top, so it's like a sealed bottle. That doesn't fit the wider jar mouth. It only it maxes out at gallon jugs. Everything, even my batch printer, my automatic batch printer, can't be set up on the conveyor with it. There's too many stages of touching them, and so it's not efficient for us to make them. It's very inefficient to make them, actually, as far as my team's time. So in periods like right now in Black Friday, the reason it went out of stock primarily was because we were just struggling to bottle down all of the liquid forms that we have, and we prioritized them because we knew that they were a better experience for people in general. Like the Stars and Stripes liquids are definitely the better shot, for reliability, being that a lot of people have hard water.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of pumping the brakes until I either figure out how to streamline the bottling, process, and also the softener built in, because I have to do that. It's still expensive. A couple of jars of powder is still like $89. I don't want to charge that if it's not going to be a good experience for people. I don't even want to offer it if it's not going to be, a sure
Personally,
shot.
I'm not offended if you just put a scoop in it, because the shovel is a little tricky to get the product out, especially when we start to get low. I spill a lot. I like a good old scoop. Just give me one scoop. I can get it in. And you
be
don't
easier
have
to
do
measure.
Oh yeah,
it'd
but
be
you
a
don't
little
have to
easier
do
to
the
measure.
fancy packaging. Just
Yeah.
I mean, the things that hold 2 beer cans together, just clip that in there, send it on its way with a scoop. I'm happy. Simplify your life, Bob.
That would make it a lot easier for us, because it is the 3D printing and the clipping and the labeling each one at a time, and then batch numbering them by hand, and then sealing them by hand with the handheld microwave gun thing that seals on the lids. It's just a lot of extra touching compared to our liquid filling. Our liquid filling is really, you saw it in that video you mentioned where everybody died. It was kind of like, it's still a lot more efficient.
People just walked into the conversation like, what? it was a skit.
Yeah. So our normal liquid filling actually is pretty quick. And it's pretty efficient. Yeah. Yeah. You got to check that one out. That was a good one. So,
oh my goodness.
But yeah, that's what's going on with the Patriot powder. It's just something I feel like we could do a little better still. So we'll have to work on that over the course of the winter.
Ooh, that's actually a really cool idea. I'm pretty sure this is Jamie making this comment. I've been
That's a good
commenting as
idea.
the House of
Yeah.
Rags, but that would be cool.
Yeah.
We would just have to say, don't eat it, because there's those idiots that do
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah. Well, that was a challenge for a while. That's a really good idea. I think that,
dude, that's
I
actually
think we could figure it out.
brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
That is a
drop it in
really
the
good idea.
foam cannon, and
Yeah.
just got to make sure that whatever it's holding in it isn't going to affect the soap. Yeah. Interesting.
Originally, the Patriot powder wasn't going to go straight into the foam cannons. That was a last minute change up. Originally, my idea was to have people get the pails, the 5-gallon pails, empty and keep them. And then they could fill it to the brim with water and shock the pail with a full jar. So the jar is designed to go into the opening of a 5-gallon pail, and the shoulder prevents it from falling in, but the neck goes in. And that was the design. And the labeling corresponds to that and everything. My idea was to reduce waste with like plastic and all of that. And the shipping cost of the pails is kind of, they're big, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted people to be able to keep the pails, have a nice labeled system with some faucets on it. And then that actually works pretty well that way, because as long as they have decent water, those ingredients have time to go fully in. They take some time to dissolve fully too.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my original concept, until someone in my live stream said, I'm so glad you're making a powdered form. Now I'll be able to put it straight into my foam cannon because I don't have room to buy the gallons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's actually, I never thought about that. And that's when we came up with the idea to have a scoop and just put them straight into the cannons without having the pails at all. So it kind of became a dual mode thing. The only problem was the dissolving with hard water. It's really that, and the packaging is a little slow. But the pods idea is fantastic. We can figure out a way to get the softener in there and fit that in, then a pod would be a really great delivery method, really streamlined.
Jamie says, I'm gonna need a fresh 2026 order sheet for all these new products.
Yeah, I just finished up some sheets for those. If you haven't seen them already, Eddie, then we'll get them over to you soon.
Enthusiast says, I love that pail idea. However, it would take me years to go through that much liquid.
But it goes quicker than you think, because the liquid that comes out of the 5-gallon pail is ready to use. The other idea that I had with the powders was that at my trucking companies or my municipalities, where it's every man for himself at the end of the day, you cannot trust anybody to measure anything. And so the idea is that the jar in a 5-gallon pail creates the ready to fill the cannon thing. So it's a time saver. That way you're not measuring how much soap goes in there. You're not going to another place to add water. You just go up to the faucet and you turn it and you wash with that. So it yields what are the concentrated gallon jugs. Those could be mixed that way too, 4-to-1 into a 5-gallon pail, and then they're ready to fill a foam cannon. But that's only 20 foam cannon fill-ups. You know what I mean? It's not as long, it's not as much distance as you would think. It's just a way to streamline the mixing process.
So run me through real quick the products that you have at the House Rags, and do you sell all of your products that you have on their website?
I don't know if we do.
I don't think you have Mob Shine, and I don't think you have your new
no, well, those are brand new. Yeah, we just launched those last week. So
okay.
Those are like fresh off the filler, just got in. So those I'm sure that they'll probably want to bring those in. So I think there was still maybe other things that weren't on there. I can't remember off the top of my head now if there's any gaps. I would imagine there is.
We've got Snake Oil, Stars and Stripes, Old Glory, Heavy Duty, Eagle Guard, Witches Brew, the powders. You do have your Mob Shine polished aluminum cleaner. You have
probably M Shine, yeah, because I think you guys may have had it in its previous label.
Yeah. Awesome Sauce, your SiO2 infused ceramic sealant, an interior cleaner and detailer, Liquid
green
X
tea and leather.
Yeah. Ooh, I would love that.
Which one? The green tea one?
The cleaner and for interiors, is it green tea?
Yeah, it's green tea scented. Yeah, they're both the same cleaner. One's leather, one's green tea.
I would love to test that out for you.
All right, cool.
Liquid X, your polymer sealant mitt wash, and then your foam mitt wash. Now, did you make an improved formula on your mitt wash with the heavy hitter? Okay.
Yeah, the Dawn is the name of it now. So I took Liquid X and we punched it up to 10 pH and removed the polymer aspect and made it foam thicker at thinner dilution.
Okay.
And so I wanted it to hit harder. We had 2 mitt washes that were both neutral pH. One had a polymer, one didn't. And the idea of the polymer just feels kind of outdated on a branding level. And it also didn't really do enough on a water behavior level for my I wasn't happy. You know, my happiness was being impacted by, like, I would use Liquid X. I knew that it was like a wash and wax concept, but the soap gets in the way of the sealant bonding. It just feels like it doesn't do anything to water behavior differently. And so I wanted to pull that aspect out of there and just make it hit a little harder to differentiate it from the other mitt wash, the foam wash. And that one's going to be getting a nice upgrade soon too. I haven't really ironed out the details, but I want to make the label up to date with the newer look. And, you know, just kind of make it a contrasting, like, nice black soft touch label with the spot UV layers. I think I have one right here. This one's the glass cleaner, but you can see this is a soft touch label and it's really nice, like, grippy feeling stuff until you get to the gloss spot UV layers. But I want to make
really cool.
Yeah, it's like really, really, really great feeling, you know. And this is a 16-ounce size too, so we're going with these HDPE bottles across the board instead of having like multiple different types of bottles. It looks like very. I hate how disconnected the whole line looks right now. So we're ripping through everything. We're gonna have all the same bottles, all the same label styles, and so like when it came to M-Shine, it just needed something that hit a little more in a meaningful direction. I wanted to do something gangster themed, you know, and so Mob Shine, the Don, is like the leader of the mafia, I guess.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of cool elements we can work with there. It's more fun on a branding level, and it gives us the opportunity. Like, this one's kind of jet themed, and that's why it's got like a fighter pilot on there. It's kind of Top Gun themed technically. Yeah. But I like to make them a little more meaningful, you know, just to have some fun with it. And so, but I think that kind of labeling, once we get through the rest of the line, we're going to be, so Liquid X is now the Dawn that got that level of quality on the label. Mob Shine has that level of quality on the label. And now I think we're going to hit Stars and Stripes and Snake Oil next and update to the Graphene Road. And then I think, I think it might be Heavy Duty's getting a little upgrade. It already had a nice look, but we need to make the bottle style that same rounded, like, bullet style. And we need to put all of you can see, like, the labels are cool, but they're not quite, like, without that soft touch label and the spot UV layers, it's just not quite as cool as it could be. So even though we ripped through these relatively recently, we're going to make them a little better, make them taller too, so that they fill the bottle more. And on the back of the bottles, I wanted to have like the units of measurement. Let's see if we can get this to focus here.
I see that. That's actually very cool.
Yeah. I realized after we got them that the 100 milliliters is this far away from here, and the 200 milliliters is this far away from there. So we
little bit off.
Something happened. Something went off the rails there. So, well, we're going to fix that. But, like, you know, there's always little things like that drive me crazy that we will continuously
Dude, you've come a long way from Word documents.
Yeah, I got to be grateful for where, like, you know, it's really actually when you stop and think about it, you know. So
it's cool to know, like, where you came from and where you're at, and knowing, like, that you're not even done. You have so many more ideas to make it cooler, more innovative, more profitable for people. I think the more I've learned about your products, the more I'm like, why am I not using these, like, steadily in my shop? Like, I already bought the Stars and Stripes by the gallon. Next is snake oil. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people talking about snake oil. Glossy Chris wants to know, can you explain the differences in snake oil versus awesome sauce?
They're both SiO2, so they're similar in what they do. You can even use awesome sauce on a wet vehicle. If you have a flat paint that's just holding all the water, you could just spritz awesome sauce in there, and the water will dissipate, and it'll be on there. You can rinse it, and it'll be there. But I use the awesome sauce normally as a way to just tune up things I'm not happy with after a touch-free wash or any kind of wash. After it's dry, you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, now I can see I didn't go good. Let me get that real quick, So I use the Awesome Sauce for that. It's a nice way to just do touch-ups.
Okay.
But snake oil is foamable. So it's like douse everything, and that's where the big time savings comes in. For me, I think we may have spoken about this before, Chelsea. I don't think we spoke about it since we were live here, but when I first built this room and I would bring in big rigs, I built this room to feel the pain of to see what I was missing. What is it that we could do better? What could we help with? And the first thing I noticed when I first started filming in here and washing big rigs in here myself, I was at the end of the process, I was spraying it wasn't the Awesome Sauce, but it was my previous generation detail spray. I was spraying a whole crane, and it was I could do it all day and never get everything that I want to put it on. And I'm trying to wipe it with a rag and get it. And so it was just impossible. So I realized pretty quick I needed something I could foam on and rinse off. I wanted to douse the underneath and the roof and inside the boom on a crane, a 60-foot crane. You can imagine you can't just do that by hand. You spend your whole life on it. And so I needed a solution there. And that's why snake oil was designed. It took us a couple of years to kind of iron it out and make it work. But I'm excited to move towards the graphene direction with it. I think we've made some good progress there. And I think that the new label, when we redo the snake oil, will have a graphene feature on it. And we'll lean a little more into the fun marketing opportunities of something named snake oil. You know what I mean? So we'll figure out ways to do that. So I think that'll be unique. I haven't really seen any foamable graphenes out there. So I think that would be kind of a nice thing to kind of differentiate a little bit.
And you said that you've heard some people say you can get up to 6 months with this.
Yeah, customers tell me that. It's just I think it's really
scenario,
hard to,
let's say.
Yeah. And even the customers who I've heard that from are, they're on trucks and they're working the trucks. And they wash with Stars and Stripes and but it just seems I don't know. There's such a variance in every aspect. I mean, the kind of weather, the intensity of the sun, right? You go down further south and that's going to do a number on something. So it's hard to I don't almost want to even put how long you can expect it to go, just because it's just too many variables to say accurately and really give someone a fair expectation. I think more often I hear 2 to 3 months, sometimes I hear less than that. Sometimes I hear a little more than that. Well, but I think the most often is about 2 to 3 months is what customers tell me.
I'd be happy with that, with a foam on product.
Yeah, well, it's quick to use. Yeah. And you don't need to use much of it. As a matter of fact, the label says 4 to 1 on there, I believe. I don't know if I have a snake oil here that I can read right now, but I think that I have on the directions 4 to 1. And a lot of that is just so that the foam looks appropriately foamy. If you can cut it way thinner. And that's one of the products that also doesn't foam as much as I want, not nearly as much as I want. Kokemi or Koshkemi. I still can't make up my mind. I don't know how. Do you know? Is it Koshkemi or Kokemi?
It's
Kokemi.
It's Koshemi.
Kokemi.
I'd say KCX.
Okay. Koshemi.
Koshemi.
The protector wax is really good foam. I really like the foam on that.
It actually is a really good product, and they claim up to
jealous.
5,000 miles with that.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
My rep for it, he said that he put it on his distributor's van, and it lasted 5,000 miles with him traveling all over the tri-state area.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I would be curious that's an interesting way to measure it in miles. I haven't thought of that.
Trucks, though, that wouldn't last very long, though. That'd be one haul, wouldn't it?
It would. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you're driving through and all these other factors. So I'm thinking more of leaning into the snake oil branding and just saying that this will do absurd things that are obviously false claims. It's just a joke at that point. You know what I mean? Just leaning into it. I named it snake oil primarily for all the different things out there that I wouldn't want to name that are making crazy claims as detail sprays, right? That are obviously tire shine, that it costs $4 to make, if that, and is charged $90 a bottle. So I saw a lot of that in the industry, and I thought, it just looked like snake oil. It seemed like those kind of tactics. And I thought, why don't I lean into that and, just kind of call mine snake oil, and it's just kind of a fun product name that I've always thought would be interesting.
AMI Detail says, I would recommend the sprayer application for snake oil 100-to-1. Can it be sprayed on versus foamed on? And will you use less of it that way?
You will, yeah. So it's actually like an ounce to a gallon would be roughly, it'd be 128-to-1 or 127-to-1 or whatever. But like that would be way more efficient, and that would be the strength that roughly the foam cannon gets. Foam cannons are a total rodeo of what ratio they put out, but if you pin the thing tight for the most part, I predict generally on most machines that's right around 20-to-1.
Okay.
Now I could be wrong about that. I probably am, just because the different flow rates that run through it shift how much it draws. But if you pin the top all the way open and you have 20-to-1 coming out of the cannon, then if you cut 4-to-1 in the cannon, you can multiply that 5 by 20 and land at about 100-to-1 PIR. And so that's what you're getting out of snake oil through a foam cannon roughly. And you can replicate that in a pump sprayer, and you end up with a delivery method that you can use much more sparingly. It does the same thing. You're still putting it on there. The foam cannon's not doing anything. It's just putting it on there. You know what I mean? It's whipping it up a little bit. But yeah, you can replicate what's coming out of the foam cannon and go further with it. And I think you get a lot more bang for your buck.
Stephen Off says, would be great if you put panel impact ratios on your labels like Europe.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why we do. We got it right here.
They do. And look at there. Yeah. You ask, keep answers.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know how to calculate that. I have to watch a YouTube video, but
that's it. I mean, like we get there we have them on here. Everything I have generally has pump sprayer directions other than stars and stripes. And I mean, this is Old Glory and it still has pump sprayer on there. You could do it. But yeah, 100-to-1, looks kind of like that.
Explain to me
100-to-1 looks like this in the foam cannon.
Explain to me the differences between stars and stripes and Old Glory and why I would use one over the other.
The concept with Old Glory, because we can't get as much clean in one step as we can in two. You're just the two different environments, the acidic environment and the alkaline environment, can hold different types of surfactants, and they tackle different types of grime. Inorganic with the acids and then organic with the alkalines. And then you get that pH shock thing we talked about. You can't really keep up with that in a single step unless you go really hot and like really hit heavy on the alkaline side. And so like this has about the same pH as stripes.
Okay.
And it's designed to be a solution for, I mentioned like municipalities earlier. So you imagine a town yard, like everybody came back in from the snowstorm and the town just wants to buy a soap. If you have two soaps in an environment like that, where it's 100 different guys walking up to it, they're only going to use one or the other. They're going to rinse them off in between. They're not going to, whatever the case, they're not going to use them one over the other, so they mix. Like that's really hard to get across. We have signage that we include with our kits and stuff to try and show it like what it looks like to just mix them together and make it clear. But really, at the end of a long day, and especially in an environment like if you're washing 100 school buses and they don't have to get perfect, then it's a lot faster to go over with one soap, and it's a lot simpler. You can just have anybody do it. Just put the soap on there and then rinse it off. Like just, you know what I mean? It's a lot easier. There's no learning curve. And so we needed a solution for situations like that. So that's what Old Glory is.
How would that be on a coated vehicle or protection? Would it weaken it?
Oh, I think it's definitely the worst thing that we could put on there as far as our line is concerned. Like it's going to hit hard.
So don't do it unless it's a prep wash.
It's 13 pH. The thing is that stars and stripes stars is a pH of 2 and stripes is a pH of 13 also. But the vehicle doesn't really see anything beyond 7, 8, or 9. Have you ever tried putting a test strip of like a pH test strip on the foam after they both mix on the vehicle? Just put a pH test strip right on it. It goes to neutral.
That's crazy.
So like you're going like
Science is so
way
cool.
more. It's way more gentle to use both the soaps. It's much better. You get a better clean. It's more gentle on the vehicle. There's a lot of perks to it. It's just that it's hard on a learning curve level. And some environments, it just isn't really a good fit.
Mm-hmm. I'll
And so
definitely
that's
have
what
to
Old
give that a
Glory
try
is.
though, because for me as a detailer, I'm normally doing prep washes. I'm not the type of detailer that's doing a lot of maintenance washes for customers. Or if I am, it's okay if I want to remove the protection and reapply fresh stuff.
Yeah,
So I like heavy
that's true.
hitters.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
I'd be curious to see in someone in my line of work, home-based detailing business, would I rather Old Glory or a
Yeah.
two-step system? I'll try it. We'll test it.
Yeah. I mean, they're just tools that, you'll find what you really like, what brings you the most value. There's a couple different
Yeah.
roads there. And you won't get as clean with just Old Glory, but if you're going to
Okay.
do some other stuff too, it'll be a good head start as a pre-wash. I think that could be helpful in what you're looking to do. But yeah, it's something that's slowly progressing too. I think we can do a little better still. And we'll probably develop that one over time. I was playing with Swift Touch Max Touchless. You ever seen that one? You ever seen the Swift Touchless wash on Amazon?
No.
I've got some on my cart behind me here. I could probably show you what it looks like, but I was using the Max version, and it doesn't look like much on the label. They don't talk about the pH or anything like that. And I was foaming it on to see how it works. It's a single step touch free. And I was really impressed with how well it worked. It foamed really nice. It worked really good. I could see the tires turning brown, even though it was cut at 100-1. I was like, man, what the heck is this? I think I put a pH strip on it. It was like 13 or 14 or something. It's very unassuming looking bottle. It looks like normal, like car wash soap or something, but it hits hard. I really actually like it. I like that it hits hard.
What's
because
the
it gets a
name of it
lot
again?
done. It's called Swift. I'll go grab it. It's right here. I won't even leave the frame. I'll just have to go over there. I think I have it right on my cart here, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Swift Auto Care. Yeah, this is the one here. I really like this stuff. Doesn't look like much.
I'll have to check it out. Hopefully I don't burn metal with it.
Yeah. I mean, the label doesn't look like anything. It's just like, it might cause some eye or skin irritation.
Seriously, it's the equivalent of bleach, but hey.
Yeah, but this, I actually like this quite a bit. So it hits pretty hard. It's very unassuming looking, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It just looks like a white label soap.
Yeah. I don't know what's in there, but they got something good in that bottle. It's not as they have like two versions. They have a non-max version, which is I think $40 on Amazon or 35. It's like pretty good for a gallon. And then the max one's like closer to 60 or so. You're getting up into, but that's about right for what that is, I think. I don't know. Just by the time Amazon takes their cut and the shipping gets paid, I don't know. So
Becca's asking, what's the difference between Bandit Blue and Smoky Red? When would I need Smoky Red?
Smoky Red is a standard like metal polish that is a heavier cut. So it's designed to do some heavier lifting on like, if you have aluminum rims or something like that have some oxidation on them that you're really struggling with, it'll make a little quicker work of it. Bandit Blue is a sprayable finish cut. So that's kind of a nice like fine tune-ups, like, after everything's, you could do it even over Bandit or Smoky Red. You could polish, get the heavy work done, and then come back and get a little more clarity and depth with the Bandit Blue. So it's a little more appropriate for like if you had, let's say, some really nice American forged rims, and they're already looking pretty good, but you need to just give them a little edge. That's where Bandit Blue is nice. And being sprayable, it kind of saves you a little bit of work applying it because you just spray it onto the surface. You shake it up because it's got the like compound in it, and so you have to shake it and then you get it on the surface, and then you can work it in with a terry cloth or a microfiber, and then you just let it, once you do that and you give it a good like polish, you can see what progress you're making. The rag turns black with all the junk that comes out of the pores of the aluminum, and then you let it haze up for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The longer the better, because that'll make it chalky. and then you can just like one pass, like wipe it with another clean microfiber, and it'll be done.
And she's asking for exhaust tips. Which would you recommend?
Yeah. I mean, probably smoky red, because it's just a heavier grit to the compound, so it's going to do a little more work. So being a heavy cut, I think that you're probably going to be dealing with a little bit of like stingy stuff. You know, exhaust tips usually look pretty rough, and that would probably be a good tool for that.
Detail-oriented Bobby says, Bob, my hesitancy with stars and stripes is being hard on surfaces like trim and seals. So since you say it's pH neutral when both are used, is this something you could use regularly?
Yeah, I think all of our customers use it pretty much every wash. So yeah, and there's not really ever reports of issues on trim. Nothing drying out, or, you know, it's I think it boils down to the neutral pH once mixed. You're really not even going up into the higher pH range. Like the stuff that I just showed you here, that's just hitting hard at like 13. You know, I mean, I don't know for sure if it's 13. I think it was. I think I remember putting a pH test strip. But you know, when you see
Sounds
the
like
rubber
Dark
turning
Fury.
brown. Yeah. Imagine putting that on your seals, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
So I think Stars and Stripes hits a lot more gently than you would think. If you want to see something interesting, you know, I would, like I said earlier, to put them both together and then throw a pH test strip on the car. You know, if you have to use a roughly equal amount. So, you know, go over at about the same speed and amount of soap each. If you like stand there and hammer it, then you'll end up going toward the high pH side.
Okay.
That doesn't generally happen. Normally, psychologically, you might use a little more Stars than Stripes, just because on that first pass, you just naturally use more soap to get the car loaded up.
I've noticed that is my tendency. In Stripes, I'm like,
yeah, yeah. So, and then Stripes, you come back and you just kind of real quick, you feel like you got it.
Yeah.
So you really don't go into the high pH side of it by overloading it with the Stripes. It just kind of ends up pretty balanced. But I would love to see if you find that at neutral. If you don't, if you find that you have a little higher pH, then maybe you could use a little less Stripes. Or if you are still a little more on the low pH side, maybe you could use a little more Stripes. You know, but it'll give you some insight of what's actually going on the vehicle after you put them both on there. It's a pretty cool little test. You just get the little pH test strips. You know, the ones with the colors on them.
Yeah.
Where you match them up across the grid from like
I have
0
them for my
to 14,
son's fish
whatever.
tank. I should probably just pull one
You
out.
could probably use that. Yeah. Yeah, it probably would work. But it's an interesting test, and it's kind of just fun to see.
Might tell me I need to add nitrates, but you know, I don't know. CEO Detailing says, Bob, what shelf cart is that? And what casters do you use? And what size acro-mill storage bins are those? I want that exact shelf. It's badass.
Good call on the acro-mill storage bins. Yeah. I don't know what size those are.
Maybe you should do a YouTube video on it, affiliate link it, and then you could get a ton of commission.
Yeah. Everybody wants to know about that cart. We might as well talk about it real quick. Let me get a measurement on one of them so you know the answer. I think it's about, let me see here. We've got
it's huge.
16 wide. And these are acro bins, man. That's nailed. 24 long. And let's see, 11 high. So those are the acro bins. The wheels are just whatever. I welded them onto a one of those Costco garage shelves. That's all that is. It's just a Costco shelf with some casters that I welded onto the legs.
Maybe you should do a YouTube video on how to make it.
It's just you weld wheels on the bottom. I don't. It's
like buy this, put wheels on it, put the shelves on it, or the bins.
It came out great. I threw a bunch of hooks on there. I got the garage, a bunch of garage hooks that I just either tack welded or screwed on there, and it just, I don't know, it worked out really good. I needed something that could deliver my stuff to wherever I was. It was a big room, so I wanted to be able to get what I had to work with closer. So I didn't want them to be stuck on a wall somewhere.
Adam wants to know, do you foam on or spray on Eagle Guard?
It wouldn't matter either way. The foam is just fun, and the foam's really good. Eagle Guard does really well. Eagle Guard's so this is the one. It's got some cool design elements. It's got a big rig in the middle of a shield with an eagle with foam lances in his talons. So it can go on either way. It doesn't matter if you foam it or spray it. Foam's
is it
really
for
good though.
undercarriages? Is it for wheels? Like, what's the best? Like, do you
And
just put it on the entire vehicle when it's covered in salt?
yeah, I mean, you can anything with salt on it. I mean, you can put it on the paint and let it dry there, and it doesn't have any bad issues. It's very viscous, so we do have a hard time filling this one. With our filler doesn't like it.
This is where the dead bodies come into play.
Yeah, this is usually when it's frustrating. Yeah, so this one works really well either way, and you can spray it on and leave it for the maximum amount of rust inhibition, because that's one of the unique properties of this one is it's got rust inhibitor. Yeah, and it's one of the only salt neutralizers that's high pH. So it has a degreasing function a little bit as well. So on an undercarriage, this hits at 10 pH, so it's not like super strong, but it's designed to encapsulate salt and lift it, but it doesn't need to be acidic. So this is a 10 pH. Let's see, this wants to focus on my face here, but yeah, 10 pH, and the best foam that we have, no question. It probably can cut 500 to 1 and still foam really good.
Wow.
I'm very, very impressed with how this one, I don't know what the heck happened in the lab here and why they can't do it anywhere else, but like it is definitely great foam. It is some of the best that we've got that I've ever seen. It's crazy good foam.
Dark Dragon says, do I need to blast off the undercarriage before foam spraying Eagle Guard? I don't have water access in the winter.
If you have so after you drive in a storm and you know how your wheel wells and your undercarriage are just loaded up with all that snow and
everything,
stuff, you want to knock that off of there. If you don't have water access,
go to a car wash.
Yeah, go somewhere that you can. You got to knock that off of there so that this can get at the actual frame. There's no sense in putting that on top of all of that kind of stuff. I'm just thinking if that's the case, who knows what you're really dealing with there. If you just got salt on the undercarriage and it's not all loaded up with all the snow and ice, I'm just got that in my brain because we just dealt with a big storm here and everybody's got that on their cars.
How much did you guys get?
It was like maybe 5-ish inches maybe, but it kind of rained on it and turned into ice and made a mess. Yeah, it was. We were
supposed to get anywhere from a trace to 10 inches, and we got like ice. That was it. It was so much ice that it looked like snow, but it was just disappointing.
That is disappointing. Yeah, it would have made the Christmas time much better. Hopefully, we'll get a storm. Hopefully, get a storm. I'm sure we have time.
They're saying, knock on wood, that we might have a white Christmas. We haven't had one in like 10 years at least. So
wow.
I was at least thankful that it was cold enough to wear a sweater at Thanksgiving. We've had some where it was like 60 degrees, and I'm like, this ain't right. I moved out of Florida. Like, it needs to be cold.
Yeah, my wife wants to get the snow going too. She was really bummed out about the rain last night because it was like finally happening. We're finally getting some snow, and then it just kind of got obliterated by the rain. Just all turned into nothing. Bunch of slush.
CEO Detailing says, Bob, I missed out on the packaging for snake oil. I reached out to CS. They said you are no longer using the packaging, and there was almost a fight for the last one. Can I still get one?
I don't even think I have one anymore. It's gone right now. The company that prints them for us was just reaching out to me the other day and asking, because I discontinued them because of the change up in the bottles, because you have to have the perfect fit tube to go around it. And the paper tubes were still, I think they were a few dollars, maybe $3, $4, $5. So I decided there's no hurry right now. I would rather just eliminate that from the price point. So we shifted it down by about $4. And I felt like it was already expensive. It's just one of those products that I felt like is special enough to have a really nice presentation. But I want to do even better if we get back into the paper tubes. Once we nail down these bullet style bottles and fine tune, we can shrink down the paper tube. I'd love to have it be less bulky, a little easier to open, a little easier to lift this out. Not too, it's hard though. It has to come out of the base easily, but not too easily. And the paper tubes we had, you could see Jamie, I think in one of his videos, he had to get the cut and then come back later, to get it out of there. So you don't want that either. So you don't want it too tight, too loose. and then there was the cost of it. So like right now, as we shift into this kind of uniform style bottle, 16 ounce and 32 ounce, I just need to like get that out of the way first, and we can reinvestigate it later. But if I'm going to do it, I don't want it to cost as much for the paper tube, but I would love to not add further to how much the stuff costs. It's already expensive, so like I'm way out of the ballpark. We talked about protector wax earlier, and I love how that foams. And then you have, that at like $34 or under $40. And I'm coming in over here at $65, I mean, it's just where we have to be at for how much it costs to make. But I don't know.
Well, and if you guys go graphene, is it going to make it even more expensive?
No, I don't think so. I think that we might actually be able to. I think that our supply chain there might actually be even a little bit more streamlined. So I don't actually see the price going up. If anything, I might be able to reduce it just a little bit and maybe get it a hair under. Yeah, if I can get it to like, if I can get the 32 ounce under $60, I would really like that. And I think I can.
Steven says, can you spray on Eagle Guard before your vehicle has road salt on as a protectant?
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's a rust inhibitor. It'll do a little bit. It's not going to do as much protection as something like fluid film or any like heavy lanolin oil kind of approach would. You know what I mean? Like that's your best bet to really last a long time. But I've had a lot of customers who use fluid film on their frames, on their big rigs. I don't know if many people do that on their cars. I think they probably do, or oils or things like that. They just get messy. They don't smell very good. I wanted to offer something.
It's an old school thing.
It is, yeah. And I've dealt with it here, and it was actually really satisfying footage cleaning all of the fluid film off of an orange truck. It just looked like a 100-year-old truck coming in. And when I took all of that stuff off of there, it actually turned out it was a really nice, bright yellow, like orange truck. And it was really cool. And it was fun to clean off. But I know for my customers, it's like an all-day process, and it's a nightmare. And it wasn't easy here either. It was like really hard to get all of that off of there. So I wanted to offer something with Eagle Guard that, even though it doesn't last as long as something like that, it isn't messy, it doesn't smell bad, and it's not something you have to like spend a day removing after the winter's over. So that's one of the perks to it.
So what is the ideal situation in that you would recommend to use Eagle Guard? Is it for every
salt.
Vehicle? Is it just for northern vehicles?
No, it's salt in general. It actually would work well on coastlines.
Gotcha.
Like anywhere where there's any salt would be, it's a salt neutralizer. So
I might need that next time I go to Belmar, because I came back and the whole hood of my vehicle was just riddled with mist from this ocean.
Yeah, so
that
like
stuff
it can
is
help.
Nasty.
It takes a lot of lifespan off of a vehicle, a lot of lifespan, and so it's certainly worth using anything. Whether it's Eagle Guard or anybody else's, if you can use a salt neutralizer to keep the salt from destroying your vehicle, it'll save a lot of cost down the road, because it's crazy. Even like fire departments up our way, think about how many millions of dollars a fire engine costs. You know what I mean? You can't just let the road, like they drive it out, and like if they don't take the salt off of it, they see serious impact on the lifespan of those things if they don't handle the salt. And so whatever you use, there are cheaper options out there. I know that we're on the top end of the spectrum of what salt neutralizers go for with this one. I think our only edge is that it has the rust inhibitor as well, and it's a high pH approach. So if you didn't want to use something acidic, then we have a unique solution with Eagle Guard on that front.
Guardian Auto Detail says, Bob, for a mobile detailer who offers exhaust tip polishing as an upsell, use Bandit Blue and microfiber or 0000 wool, quadruple wool?
Yeah, the 40 quad wool. Yeah, the steel wool, quadruple 40 wool. I don't know how to say that either.
It's too late for me to process all that. I'm like,
I've used that as well, and it's a really great shortcut to give a little bit of abrasion without being scratchy.
Okay.
So it's a great thing on chrome and on any kind of metal that needs to be polished up. I found it very helpful. And then a microfiber later, wipe off the excess, and then you can let it haze up, and then give it one last nice buff down after it chalks up a little bit.
Bobby wants to know, can you use Eagle Guard on mats to remove salt?
I don't see why not. I haven't tried that myself, but it seems like an interesting thing to
I
do.
might have to
Why not?
test that because salt can be some of the most stubborn things to remove on the interior if it can break that down.
Mm. Yeah, and it's not like super aggressive pH. I mean, it is
Good
10,
idea,
but
Bobby.
that's a great idea. I would love to try that out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm sure
definitely.
Bobby will try that out.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting to hear how that goes. I'm very curious about that.
Why so serious? Details wants to know. There's been a lot of iron removing products that have dialed down the smell of their iron remover. Is that something you might look into for Witches Brew?
We did look into it when we first designed it, and we just couldn't get any performance out of the low odor ingredients, and that's just defeats the purpose. Like I get the idea of like reducing the odor if it really bothers you, you know, but there are solutions out there that seem to work okay. I know that we couldn't get anywhere near like getting work done
Can
with
you
the low
add
odor.
something to it to like mask it instead of trying to remove it? Like a mint or
Yeah, it's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, we could do that. I mean, we named the whole product after the way it smells.
minty
That's why
ass. I don't know if anyone wants to
it's
smell that, but
it's named Witches Brew because of how it smells. So, like, the whole branding of the whole product is based on how bad it is.
Wow.
So
I'm really excited to try it out now, Bob.
it's pretty bad. Jamie will tell you how he loves how bad it is. That's one of his
Uh,
favorite smells, he
I
says.
just tested out. I don't even know how many. I want to think it was over 20 iron removers over like two. It was the same vehicle over a 2 year span, and I tested it, and definitely you could tell the ones that smelled the worst reacted the best. But for me, like working from home, I really don't want to smell
Oh
that
yeah.
all the time.
I mean, you can imagine what bottling day is like for us over here in
Yeah.
our
Oh
shop.
my gosh. You better
Yeah.
give those guys a raise, that's for sure. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I thought working at Panera Bread and smelling like an everything bagel was bad enough. This is
Oh no, that
probably
sounds really
way, way
nice.
worse. Steven wants
Yeah.
to know, you have the 16-ounce size bottles now. Are you going to allow all your liquid products to be purchased in that size? There are
Mhm.
still some I want to try.
Yeah, that's definitely it. It's really a labeling thing. We just need to update the labels to be appropriate for that bottle. That's all. And then we're going to work our way through everything and give every product a nice tune up. So we're working our way through it. It takes some time. You'd be surprised how much like thought we put into these labels. It takes a lot of time to make the labels. I think on this first round, when we first released this, it was a matter of finding and establishing a relationship with the new printer that had this material, figuring out pricing, figuring out the sizing. I
Mhm.
wanted this gap on the back here to be just perfect. I wanted the height to be just perfect. And so like once we nailed all that down, the rest of it goes a little quicker. So like now we have the relationship with the label printing company. We have the elements and where they live on each size. So like the logo is not going to move. Neither is the title or the made in the USA or the size or the placement of the icons or the SDS details or the UPC or any of, well, these markings will be adjusted a little bit. We're going to work through those.
A little bit more accurate.
Like how wide the directions are. All of these elements are already in place, and now it's a lot quicker to rip through the rest of them. So it took a while to get the first set of these out, but now it should go a little quicker. And as we get in each new label, we'll release each product in 16 ounces. And I think we'll be starting with Stars and Stripes and Snake Oil on this next round. So hopefully early January, right around there. I mean, by the time we do the designs and then like proof them and make sure that there's no typos or errors in the spot UV gloss layers and all these little things. Then you have to submit them, and the new label printer is pretty quick, so that's helpful. They will probably take another 1 to 2 weeks to get the actual order to us, and then we can start bottling it, and so and then product photography is an aspect. So there's a few moving parts there to work through, but it won't take us too long. So hopefully by the end of the winter, I want to have everything kind of looking all the same, all the same kind of labels, all the same kind of bottles, and everything in 16 ounce.
Very cool. I'm excited to see it all.
Me too. I can't wait to get past this rebrand stage. It's going to be great. So
Steven says, I see in your videos you use heavy duty and many different dilutions for tire cleaning. What is the best dilution ratio, or is using heavy duty straight better for tire cleaning?
So heavy duty straight is like going to hit the hardest. But I think the right dilution strength is always the one that stretches it as far as you can while getting the results you want. And so that's going to vary depending on what you're cleaning. Every tire is going to be in a different amount of drama to deal with, you know what I mean? And so I think that you're always going to want to try and cut it as far as you can. I find that 10-to-1 is pretty reliable and a pretty good starting point. But if you're not finding that it's getting the work done, then you'll have to just make it a little stronger. And you can adjust that on the fly. You can find it, and you'll find the spot where you're happy. But that's really up to you. It's hard for me to predict what ratio will work for someone just because of how many different situations there are out there, how many different surfaces there are, and how much different standards there are as far as what someone wants to see when they're done. You know what I mean? So
Since a lot of
it's hard to say.
Since a lot of your products are concentrations and you can dilute them, do you sell like empty bottles with the label? That way people can mix it up but still have branding and all of that consistent?
Yeah. And as we rip through all of
I
our
know that
branding,
a
we'll
lot of
probably
people
update
don't
those
like
too.
having storage for empty bottles, but a lot of people, like even if you sell a label in a bottle, that way, you can sell them. Because
Yeah.
I for one, when I do the diluted products, I still want it to look like I half the time I'm unscrewing it and sniffing it going, "What was that?" Because my Sharpie marker wore off, and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
no, I don't remember."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, that's a great point. And we do sell the labeled bottles empty.
cool. Good
We
to
do
know.
stock those. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, unless we change that up. We've been moving things around quite a bit on the website over the last few months. It's been good. A lot of positive changes on our website, but I'm pretty sure we still have the labeled bottles on there. And we'll maybe make I would like to figure out a system, because even like I could get into like how Matt has those press all sprayers with the nice labels he has made. Like we could do that. We can definitely team up with him on that. So he's open to that if we want to go down that road. I do like those press all bottles. Have
I
you ever
just don't
played with
like
one
the
of those?
price. I
Yeah.
had 4 in my cart just this morning,
Well,
and when I
that's like
saw the
$100
total,
for
I literally could have spent
it.
$100. That's like a week of groceries
Yeah,
for
it's
a
too much
bottle, for
money.
4 bottles. I was like, "Nope, I'm good with Tulco trigger
Yeah,
sprayers and a
and
normal
Tolkos
bottle.
are
I
good.
just want a label. Just give me a
Yeah,
label." That's
we use Tolkos, and I mean, we could probably just throw labels on these and get away with it. There's a mess in here. I got my wrappers thing
Press-All
here.
is nice. Adam Zirin has them in his YouTube videos, and
Yeah,
he almost influenced me, but then I saw the price,
yeah.
and I was like,
It's really
"Nope."
it's really fun to release the trigger and have it still spray again. I like
Yeah.
that. I think that's really cool. I use the 360 Tolko sprayers in all of our bottles.
Oh, that's
This has
nice.
this has the ability to spray upside down with that little check
Oh,
valve.
that's fancy.
Yeah, yeah. So I
You
I
guys
feel
did
like,
not cut any corners when it came to packaging.
no, why would we do that? I mean, what the heck? It's like I think a good sprayer. I mean, these are pretty good, and that's why I think we could sell these with just empty. With like maybe we could make special labels that are just like that say it's ready to use or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Down the road we could get into that. I think we should, because these are nice sprayers and they're nice bottles.
Mhm.
We could definitely offer them for an affordable price and a price that makes sense. So you can still get groceries.
Thanks, I gotta afford my kids' cereal budget. Mayan has a very good question. Beginner here. My car is in rough shape. I washed it this weekend, but I can feel the grit of decontamination, I'm going to say, in the clear coat.
Contamination.
What products would you recommend to try out from your line?
I would use a hand wash if it's really bad, right? If it's been a long time. I mean, you could start with something touch-free. You know, if you wanted to almost use maybe something like Old Glory here, like as a pre-wash, but it's probably not going to get you all the way there. So like if you want to get it really good, then something like our the Dawn, you know, like a nice 10 pH, like hands-on kind of like hit it hard. Or our foam wash works really well. That's about 8 pH. So that's a nice, thick, heavy, like foaming soap, pretty viscous. But you're gonna want to get hands-on with that, and then just throw some protection on it after. You know, maybe you know, Awesome Sauce is a nice detail spray. That definitely would get some work done, leave some nice gloss in there, and give you a chance to get hands-on with any remaining spots. If it's really bad, yeah. So Witches Brew, where I was going with that. You know, you could get fancy and throw some Witches Brew on there. Maybe, do you like clay mitts?
I would do a clay
Chelsea?
towel. I love clay
Or
towels. The
clay towel, I should
DIY
say.
detail one
Yeah.
is my favorite.
Yeah, so like I was gonna say, clay towel is nice. Clay bar is kind of fancy. I don't know. I like how much area you can cover with a clay mitt or clay towel, I should say.
There's limitations to clay towels, I think. If you've never decontaminated and it's like gritty, clay
then you
bar
probably need to
is
use the
going
bar.
to
Yeah.
clay bar
Yeah.
is going to be more effective, but you might mar the paint more.
Do you
Either
think
way, you're
it's
probably going to mar if it's that gritty though, because
yeah.
no matter what soap you're using, if you're going to town and you've never done it before, you're probably going to rub aggressively. Just know you might want to consider polishing, but
Mhm.
at minimum, what he's saying, do a heavy foaming pre-soak, do really good contact wash, and then do your Witches Brew iron remover and a clay towel. Start there,
Yeah.
rinse that off, and then snake oil. And then once you have protection on your paint, those
Make it
contaminants aren't
easier.
going to stick as easily, and it will be easier to remove
Yeah.
them if you have them in the future.
That's very true. What do you think about how often you can use a clay towel versus a clay bar? Like, I mean, because you're
It depends on
gonna
the
be
clay
scratching
towel.
around a little bit.
I think
Okay.
it depends on the clay towel. They're not all created equally. I find clay bars, period, are going to you're gonna have more marring, but you're not gonna see as you might scratch it more actually with clay bars, whereas with clay towels, I think you see more of that marring, which is kind
Yeah.
of that like red blue, scratchy finish that you see on it. But if you use proper foaming pre-soaks, the vehicle isn't as bad, and you use proper soaps, I've actually been able to clay towel without marring, without doing anything. I had a brand new Subaru. In fact, I'm editing the video right now. Brand new. Paint was immaculate. I did a wash, chemical decon, clay towel treatment. Paint was still immaculate. It's all in technique. It's all in soaps and pressure.
Yeah.
If you have something that's never been washed in 8 years, yeah, you're gonna be polishing it anyways because it's crappy. Go to town, go hard. But as far as frequency on a clay towel, I would say once a year.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you're
Yeah.
doing it, why? I mean, if you have protection on your vehicle,
Yeah.
you
Why?
shouldn't need to
You shouldn't
decontaminate
need
it
it.
as
Yeah.
frequently.
Yeah. It should just
Because
be an
like
occasional
tar
thing.
and
Every now
things
and then
like
to
that,
get asked.
yeah. I say once a year, do a decontamination with a clay towel. At most twice a year. That's what I'm routinely doing on my customers. I'm doing a very quick
Yeah.
clay towel treatment, nothing aggressive, and normally that keeps things from accumulating.
Okay. Yeah. That's good advice. Yeah. Because I get that every now and then, and I feel like the same. It doesn't seem like something you need to do very often. You know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? Like,
It depends on how
and
much you're washing your vehicle, though, because I have some customers that they bring it to me twice a year, and that's when they're washing it. So yeah, we're
yeah.
gonna need to decontaminate. If you're washing it every 3-4 weeks and you're putting protection on and you're keeping up with maintenance, you might not need to do that at all because your paint is smooth. And if it's coated, that's another scenario as well. If it's coated, you
Okay.
might not need to decontaminate, and you probably don't want to because you could wear down the
Wear
hydrophobic
down
top
the.
there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, that's good advice. Well, that should be sending him in a good direction, I would say. That'll definitely
Glossy
get
Chris
it.
says, would Witches Brew eat a clay towel?
I don't think so. I don't think it would. I don't think there's any reason why it would.
We'll test it out. If you say it has
Yeah.
good lubrication, for me, I would use it with a clay towel, just to have extra lubrication, but you just want to make sure it doesn't gobble it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
But if you're diluting
Eddie
it
thinks
1
it
to
would.
3,
Well, yeah, that's a big part of it. So, like, if you dilute it 1 to 3, then I can't imagine it would. But I don't have a lot of experience using clay towels, so like I can't
okay.
say firsthand what would happen there, what negative effects, if any, there would be. I have used it, but I
Jamie is
haven't
saying
seen
he
any
doesn't
issues.
recommend it. He's saying it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I saw that there. I was thinking, like, I wonder why. I don't know. I don't know what the logic is there. Like, what would happen? Like, would it like deteriorate the towel? Is that what's going on?
I would imagine, and again, not all
Oh,
clay
destroy
towels
the
are
synthetic clay. Yeah.
created equal, but
Hmm.
I tried, I think it was over 25. Not a single one of them damaged the iron or, the clay towel. So I think you would have to have a pretty aggressive iron remover.
Well, we definitely made it as strong as we could. So maybe, something we'll have to find out. You know what I mean? I
Who
think that,
wants to be that guinea
yeah.
pig?
I mean, I'll get you
Is
another
it
clay
is
towel.
it solvent based? Is Witches Brew solvent
No,
based?
no. What's the name of that driving chemical in there again? I forget now off the top of my head. It's the same stuff that smells horrible in all of them. We just used as much of it as we possibly could. It's really
Uh,
like as
it's an acid that starts with a T. Bobby, give it to us.
calcium thioglycolate. Is that what
Something
it
like
is?
that.
Uh,
I'm sure Bobby
Somebody
will
in the
give it in the
comments
comment
knows.
section.
Yeah, but it's just a whole lot of that. It's just a whole lot of that. So we just
Okay.
put it as strong as we possibly could, and we just try and find ways to stand out a little bit if we can. And it seemed like an angle. Thioglycolic acid. Thank you.
It started with a T and there was an
Yeah,
acid. It's
perfect.
getting
Yeah,
late. Yeah, I can tell you're getting tired too, Bob.
yeah,
We 41-year-olds. We're like, okay. My daughter keeps coming to the door. She's like, are you going to come check me in soon? I'm like, I'll be right
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Jamie says, I would avoid it even if you don't damage the clay towel. That towel would destroy your garage with the smell. So,
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, that's going to be just in there reeking. Yes, that's a very good point. That's one reason why you might not want to do it as well. Another one.
it sounds like we need to maybe reconsider the scent on this thing for people to actually be motivated to go out and buy it, Bob.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it'd be pretty easy to add fragrance. It wouldn't really be hard to just add some fragrance in there.
You
I
just
just
got to make
and
sure that they blend with butt really well.
yeah, yeah, like what goes with that? I don't
Who
know.
knows?
It's just a matter of the fragrance world is a whole thing. There's just billions of options and different companies that you can get them from, and
Yeah.
sometimes so there's a lot of like effects that throwing a fragrance into a certain smelling chemical, like it'd be challenging to figure out something that works for Witches
Mhm.
Brew. But there's a lot of different shifts that happen to the experience that are unexpected. Like we tried to make Maverick jet fuel scented because this is like isopropyl. It's just like really strong
So you
alcohol and
wanted it to smell
surfactant.
like gas?
Yeah. so like so we were trying
That's insane.
well, it's like it's a jet theme going on here. So we were like, what does jet fuel smell
You
like?
really committed.
We used like a rubber, a leather, and a smoke, all 3 different oils at the same time. We kind of got something kind of cool.
I actually
Um,
love the smell of gasoline, so
yeah, like gasoline would be kind of fun too. I love that
no, I
smell
mean,
too.
we're being
So
sarcastic. We don't wanna get high
I
inside
do
the
like
vehicle,
that.
but
Yeah, no, and that's the problem is that the fragrance oils had 2 drawbacks. They stayed in the formula without separating.
yeah.
But the effect once you sprayed it, it just stayed. It never went away. It was like days that it was like, and it wasn't like the best smell. And it also had like it was leaving residue behind because
And it
it's
was
oil.
killing brain cells too,
Yeah, well,
This
that's all
is
right. I got no problem with that. I just like wanted to have an effect to it other than just alcohol, but we decided to pull it out of there because it was leaving film behind, and the whole point of this is to like clean quick and have a flash
Yep.
evaporate and be gone and no streaks, and I was chasing problems. So we just pulled the fragrance out of there. The fragrance can be problematic. Sometimes you get separation in the formula. And you end up with a layer of fragrance at the top of the bottle, and it's like, it's horrible. You know, it's a
I've
real
seen many
curveball.
friends deal with that.
Yeah,
So.
you have seen a lot of things, I'm sure, because that's just part of designing something new. We have to have them though. Like, it's such a big factor. And like the Witches Brew, we just ran with it on a branding level. Like, all right, let's just make this stuff as bad as possible. And like, maybe people will want to try it just to be curious to see how bad it is, you know. But
Glossy Chris says, I love your big rig disaster details inside and outside, Bob. Keep those videos coming sooner. I'll watch and keep those haters down. Kick those haters down with like vocabulary.
Thanks, Glossy Chris. Yeah, we're gonna keep them going. We're on a good roll right now of every Friday. We've been doing it for, I think, 3 weeks in a row. I had a gap where I went about 3 months without posting a YouTube video after we went live with the new ERP system, and it went a little off the rails. It was not very smooth. And I spent a lot of time trying to make sure that the processes here stayed or got back to streamlined. And it just took me away from the videos. And then like, we've kind of gotten that ironed out at this point. So I'm back into it now. And yeah, the challenge is just to maintain that. And I think it's important. I really don't think there's anything I can do with my time that's more important than making the YouTube videos. It's not something I have time for. It's something I have to make time for. And it's okay, because it's definitely the most impactful thing I can do to keep everything flying forward here. You know, so like my goal is to keep putting them out every Friday. It's not easy because a lot of effort goes into them and a lot of editing. You know what that's like, Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's you know, at least 40 or 50 hours of editing in every video.
That's insane. I feel like that's even more than me.
It's a lot. Well, think about it. You know, it's just we overdo it a little bit. We like
you do
to,
have
you know,
multiple angles though.
Yeah, we like to have a little bit of fun creatively too, and like spend some time thinking about some memes and like, you know, some good music choices and stuff. You know, so like we really try to like put a lot of love into the videos. They're a creative outlet for us, so we enjoy it. But it is hard to keep the every Friday rhythm because it takes a lot of effort. We're going to be I always edited myself for years up until this past year. And then I had one of the kids here had stepped up and really done a good job teaching himself how to edit. I taught him how to edit for a little longer to edit like me. And he's taken it on from there and improved, made it better than I ever could. But now he's like slammed with all of the footage that we're trying to chop up. So like, now I've got 2 more people who are going to get into the system. We're going to build like a server and have like all the footage in one place, and then have like 3 people chopping at the same time.
I'm
trying to make changes here so that we can keep on this quality and quantity. You know what I mean? Like I really want to keep on the YouTube videos are just fantastic. I mean, even if we barely get any response to a video, it's still like thousands and thousands of people. You know, and then if they go really good, it's like nuts. I mean, it's crazy. Like, it's so good.
I'm
just
lucky
really
if I break 10,000
important.
views on a video, but hey,
but
I'll
that's
take
good.
what I can get.
No, keep on going. It's like I've posted for years before things got going, and
That's
it's still
what I've
like
heard.
there's still ups and downs. And then you won't feel good. Eventually, you'll get to a place where it's always about that YouTube 1 out of 10 rank. You know, you have that on your studio?
Yes.
Everybody hates that. No matter how many followers you have, no matter how many videos you get, it's always still about that 1 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And like, no matter how many views that 10 out of 10 is, it's still 10 out of 10. And you're like, no, I put so much work into this. It's like last place. And it's just a really horrible kind of, so you never get past that. Like, it doesn't matter, you know, but it's still like, if you can get beyond the numbers of it and just appreciate, like, visualize what any number of people look like in a room. You know what I mean? If you had like 100 people in your house, it's like, oh my God, that's just so many people, you know, and there'd be wall to wall, you know, and you have to like think about that perspective. Any views that are coming in, it's good. You know what I mean? Any at all. And I have to stop and appreciate that sometimes to keep myself from trying to obsess over like that list of where a video ranks out of the last 10, because you can lose appreciation for what 1,000 people look like, or 2,000 or 5,000 people. You know what I mean? 10,000 people. I mean, that's crazy. That's like a
I
stadium
know.
full of people watched your video. You know, think about
When
that.
you put it in that perspective, it is a little like,
Yeah, it's great when you and it helps keep you motivated. Like, okay, this is worth my time. You know what I mean? It's definitely worth your time. So keep
So
on going with it.
if I were to ask you, what is your favorite product from your line? What would it be?
I like the snake oil the best. I have the most fun with it. It's the most rewarding product to use. It's not ever disappointing. You know, like the touch-free washes, I'm usually like, I didn't get this spot. And like, look over here, I still got film right here. And like, you know what I mean? And I always try to share that in my videos as much as I can, like my unhappiness with what we did, just to balance expectations. I don't want anybody to think it's a perfect solution. It's not going to get you to 100%, you know, but it's a good shortcut. But at the end of the whole process, once you've wiped everything down good and it all looks good and the paint's still unprotected, you know, let's say it's not a coated vehicle of any kind, it's just got the water sitting on there. There's nothing better than like foaming on the snake oil just really quick, rinsing it top down, because like you're not cleaning it, you're just getting it off of there, right? And you see it instantly. It's just such a dramatic difference, the gloss and the water behavior, and it's just fun to see. It's just super easy and very rewarding to use. So that's definitely my favorite one. Yeah, hands down.
What's the most underrated product from your line that you think people should try?
Man, I feel like I answered this one recently, and now I'm trying to remember which product I chose before. It might have been Witches Brew. I think
Okay.
maybe we spoke about this at
Yeah.
SEMA, I think. So Witches Brew is, I think, underrated because it's very unique and it's very cost effective once cut down, you know. So I think it's probably the most underrated. Then again, I don't know, there's other options within our line that I think a lot of other like people would probably chime in and say, you know, I think Old Glory is underrated because, you know, they feel it works really good or they really like it. Or the interior cleaner is kind of unique because it has protectant built in, you know, and it's kind of like a really good cleaner, but it leaves things kind of rejuvenated looking. So that's a little bit unique, and that maybe that's underrated. The tire shine might be underrated. It works pretty good. But I don't know, Witch's Brew comes to mind first just because it is uniquely strong, you know, so like being able to cut it down that far is kind of unique, and that I feel like makes it the most underrated.
I just had a question and my mind literally just blew. I've never had that happen. I was like, wow. No, I had the question. Give me a second. My ADHD is kicking in. It is super late at night.
Oh yeah, no, let your brain rest for a minute there. Think about it. Detail oriented Bobby's saying, besides ceramics, ounce for ounce iron remover is one of the most expensive we use. So that makes sense. So I like the idea of helping if we can reduce that. You know what I mean? I think that's a nice thing. If we can try and reduce expense or save energy and time, like that, those are two things that I think line up with our mission here.
Now I know what my question was. I was totally blanking for a second because I was thinking about snakes and then I just like got lost on a train. I know we've talked about rebranding. What's next for Chem-X? Like, what are some of the things that you're hoping to do in the future? Beyond tools and accessories and things like that, like what chemicals do you think are coming next?
I would like to continue trying to make stars and stripes better, continue trying to get beyond our foam, lacking foam quality in general. Like I want to get everything foaming really good. I would love to figure out a way to, as we increase buying power, continue to lower prices if at all possible. We had to shift our pricing up a little while ago, and I really didn't like that. I mean, it worked out. I mean, we went into our biggest year we've ever had, and we needed to have gone up or else we would be absolutely broke right now. But if we can increase our buying power, lower our cost of goods sold, and increase the units output, then our overhead cost per unit would be dramatically reduced. So I would love to see our stuff hit at a lower mark. Koshemi, is that how you say it? Like
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're blending in Europe and shipping overseas, and they're half the price of my stuff, and I'm making it in Massachusetts. Like something's broken here. I have to figure out a way to get I think maybe we're just very small, or I don't know, but I'm sure that over time I can figure out how to get us into a better price point where we slip into more of a jet stream of where the momentum is. You know what I mean? And as the units increase and the systems we use to fill with increase, I think that would be a good goal. I would really like to see that. And so hopefully that's something that can start to work out over the next, hopefully very short period of time.
Glossy really Chris says ceramic coating. And do you feel like we need another ceramic coating on the market? Like, what would you do differently if you were to do a ceramic coating?
It would just have to be user friendly so that there's no train wrecks that come from it. Just because a lot of the ceramic coatings obviously have an installer. You know more about ceramic coatings than I do. Also, like there's probably some user friendly options. I'm sure, right? Like my hesitation as of yet has just been, I don't want anybody to have like a, be doing it out in the driveway and a gust of wind blows some dust into it and locks it in. And then they're like, how do I undo this? I didn't know if that would ever be a problem. I know that was something that the people who I know who install ceramic coatings always seem super obsessed with dust control and humidity and the environment and the shop and the temperature and like the prep work. And it like seems so like easy to mess up that I never even really investigated making an actual coating that would last for years.
Well, to be honest, in the trucking industry, a spray-on rinse-off is probably more appropriate.
And it doesn't last as long, but it's easy. It's kind of foolproof. It's like, you can't go wrong. You know what I mean?
Do you see a lot of truckers getting coatings?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah.
And are they using more industrial grade ones?
No, they're using like G-Technic.
So they're using something that's easy to apply because it's such a big vehicle.
Yeah, probably. I would say that's a big perk. And my chemist came from the printing industry, not from the vehicle industry. I came from the vehicle industry, and when I teamed up with him, he used a lot of similar ingredients. He's familiar with, sodium hydroxide, sodium metasilicate, phosphoric acid, all these different components. He's very familiar with in the types of things that he's blended before, but he has no experience making like something like a that's why snake oil took like 40 or 50 versions before we got to where we had something that we could release, because it was like a very labor intensive struggle, trial by error, trying to make something that would work. So it's a completely unique solution. It's a fresh take, but it took a lot of effort to get there. But I think that the amount of effort to create something here that would be in the actual coatings world, I just feel like we have such a bad start when everybody else is already so many years ahead of us refining what's out there. It just seems like a hard goal to me to hit that and nail it.
Well, as much as I hear you say that, I feel like your products are unique and somewhat innovative that other brands, I feel like sometimes are simplifying it too much, and you're just like, let's cut to the chase. Like, we want to save time, we want to clean quickly and do a good job, but not damage it and have realistic expectations. And I'm excited to try out more of your products. I feel like, especially in my environment, they're going to be better suited for me to just get done faster with good results. So I'm excited to try out more of them.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what you think. I think that it'll be great to get your feedback, and we'll benefit a lot from that. And for sure, be hard on them if you can. I want to know the worst. Like, where are the failings? Because that gives me a whole punch list to work on, and I think that that's really important. That's the only way we've gotten this far. I have my preferences. I know what I like. Our customers have their preferences. They know what they like. The best thing that we can get is really constructive criticism that teaches us where we're lacking so that we can address it. The worst thing I can get is feedback that is just like, yeah, this is 100%, because it doesn't give me a place to go. Do you know what I mean? So I would really benefit from your thoughts on all of our stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you think.
Oh, I'm happy to do it. I'm looking forward to it. Well, This has been a delightful conversation to get to know you, your products. Thank you for sharing some insight in how to get the most out of them. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this episode. I know this is my last Behind the Details with Chelsea. I don't think you were as spicy as I thought you were going to be, Bob. You behaved. You kept it in check. For those of you that, I know a couple of you were asking, why is this my last episode? We had a 1-year contract. I've just decided not to renew because I want to be able to focus on spending more time with my family. And then when I do videos, to be able to help my channel grow. I feel like we're right at that point where things are going to maybe start going more in the positive direction. And so I just want to be able to focus on growing that to maybe help my family out. So it has been a pleasure to be able to hang out with you guys over this last year, doing these episodes. And hopefully you guys have learned something about all of the people that we've had on and enjoyed the series. Thank you to Jamie and Eddie for hosting and for giving me this opportunity. Honestly, it has been, I didn't think I could even do it. And to hear the feedback from everyone that you guys have enjoyed the show has been a huge blessing and a surprise to me. So thank you guys every Wednesday for hanging out with us. Bob, where can they find you if they want to hang out with you more?
Our channel is just Chem-X, CHEM-X, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, chemx.com. You can actually get to our YouTube channel through chemx.com too, right at the bottom. You can see our videos there. So it's a pleasure being here. Thank you for wrapping up your whole series with House of Rags with me here. This is fun. It feels like an honor.
Well, we're going to definitely be testing them out over at Attention to Details. So make sure you guys head on over there so that way you don't miss out any of our real world feedback. And make sure you head on over to the House of Rags website. Use coupon code A2D10 if you want to try out any of Chem-X's products. And hopefully you'll have your new products there as well.
Yeah, very soon. I'm pretty sure that we'll be shipping those out as soon as we can. So
thank you guys. It has been a pleasure. You're not done with me yet. You just got to head over to a different location to see me. But have a great night, Bob. Have a great night, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in the next details, guys.
Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, guys.
If you guys have watched this podcast episode all the way through to the end, thank you so much for watching. If you like the podcast, make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you really like the podcast, make sure you subscribe and hit that notify bell so that way you don't miss out on any of our future podcast episodes. If you're listening on any of our podcast streaming platforms, make sure you leave us a review and let us know what more you want to hear of in the future. So that way we can make sure that we bring on the guests and discuss the content that you guys want to hear. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And we'll see you next Wednesday right here at the House of Rags YouTube channel. Have a great night.